All right, we're back. I heard you missed us. We've only been gone like 6 days or whatever,
Right.
7 days. Episode 11 of the Idiot Circle. I'm Mike.
I'm Fred.
I'm Rob.
All right, guys. So we got some topics this week. Actually, one of our 4 viewers, Ruth, had a comment on the last episode. She said we didn't answer her last question. I asked what that was, so I'm waiting for her feedback on that. But she
I
had
feel bad.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, I must have missed it. So I try to read all the comments, but so
Damn,
her,
damn ADD.
yeah, exactly. So her topic or her question for this week, I thought was a good one. I thought we'd get a kick out of this one. So, what was your most embarrassing moment in life? Well, one that stuck out to you, obviously. And were you trying to show off when it happened? So I'm going to start with Fred on this one.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, come on, Freddie.
Oh, I could write a book about this.
Well, you can have several. I mean, and we can vote on what the most embarrassing one is.
Sure. I haven't had any.
Yeah, right.
Well, let us tell you yours then, Fred.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. How about it?
Yeah, I know that I think there was a time where I was like, I was on my bike and I saw a couple girls I liked, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And I was speeding up on my bike, and I didn't see the curb in front of me. Flipped over the handlebars, and the edge of the parking thing went right up my ass.
Ooh.
And I had to run track, and even any kind of jumping or running, it was like ooh, ooh, ooh,
did you tear your sphincter or something, or what the hell happened?
Yeah, I broke my hymen.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yes.
You just reminded me of one of mine when you talked about the bikes. I got a couple of them, but keep going.
Well,
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I got a couple bike stories.
Yeah. So that was that one. That was one. And then one time I was saying, hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? And there, I hit a parked car, went right up over and on top of the wind, and they're like, the girls were like laughing at me, and I'm like, hey man, it's okay, I'm okay. And I got down the street, and I was like, oh my God, that was so painful.
Have any of the three of us not hit a parked car with our bikes? Because I did too. Okay. I think everybody has. Anybody that was really into bikes has hit a parked car at one point in time. So yeah, those are pretty good ones, Fred. What about you, Rob?
Well, this is going back some years ago.
Oh God, he's got that look in his eye.
Yeah, 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, when I had moved into this place and I was trying to get cable hooked up, and the cable guy, it comes to hook the cable up, is a black guy, and
cable guy.
Yeah, and so I had all this stuff everywhere, and I had stuff covered on this table, and I couldn't get something to work, so he had to come back, and he's in there looking, and he's got both. It was back in the day when you had like your first big screen TV. It had one remote, then you had the cable box remote, then you had the sound system remote. So you had all these remotes. We're trying to figure it out, and he said, "Where's the other remote?" I take this. It was a towel or something on this table. And I pull it back, and there's all these porn DVDs in there. And the first one on top says something like "Black Anal Hose." And I just remember his face. Like, he's an older gentleman with glasses on, and he looks down, and his eyes get big, and he looks at me like, and I go,
he's like a Morgan Freeman looking at you.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
That just reminded me I had one of those too.
All right, so this topic's gonna go around for a little bit, I think. So I have one that this is probably my most embarrassing moment. I've had a few in my lifetime, but this one, it wasn't that long ago. My daughter was in I think first grade, maybe second grade. It was at Washington Elementary, they had like a talent contest or whatever. So she was in elementary school at the time. So I'm sitting there between my wife and my dad, and we're waiting for, Allie was in the talent show, and there's a couple in front of us that has a couple kids, and the kids are just being assholes, just like running around and being loud and all this stuff. And I'm getting irritated because I'm trying to watch this talent show and, be a good dad and, pay attention to all this stuff. And I can't focus on it because these kids are just going nuts. And I said in a normal voice, not, kind of to try to get their attention, I said, what are these parents, deaf or something? And I feel my wife hits me in the ribs with her, gives me a shot to the ribs, and she said, "They are, you asshole." I was like, oh my God. My dad lost it. My dad completely lost. Both parents are deaf. The kids are going nuts. And oh my God, I felt like such an I said to my dad, well, don't I feel like a fucking asshole?
But they didn't hear you, right?
No, they didn't. But everybody else turned around. Everybody else knew because they knew the parents.
I certainly wouldn't think that they would hear you if they're deaf, Rob.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like,
but everybody else knew. Everybody else knew that, I didn't go to all the school functions. My wife did all that. So she knew that they were deaf and everything. I had no fucking clue. I was like, are these people deaf or something? And so everybody looks at me.
Wait a minute. Knowing you, Mike, who was that in an embarrassing moment for? More you or Tammy?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point.
Good point. Yeah,
Oh
probably
Mike was
bothered her a
probably
lot
like,
more.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, you know me too well, right?
Right.
I was shocked. Let's put it that way. Maybe not embarrassed, but yeah, it was embarrassing. But I get over embarrassment pretty quick. So.
Tammy was probably, oh my God, I can't go to these games anymore.
She gave me a total shot to the rib cage. I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, they are deaf, you asshole. Oh my God. The worst.
All right, I got another one.
Okay.
And we're at church at Holy Cross.
Oh boy.
And we used to sit up in the choir loft because my mom played the organ. So Leslie and my sister comes down. We go down the center aisle and we get our communion, and we're coming back, and I turn and look behind me, and here she's coming behind me. So I sneak around the corner, and as soon as the door comes open, I go, hurrah! And it was an old lady that cut in front of her, and I scared her so loud she screamed. And Leslie's behind her like this, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she just looked at me like, you're the biggest asshole that ever drew. And Leslie's like going, she walks by me with a smile on her face. She goes, real nice, Fred, and walks back out of the choir. I was so embarrassed.
Was this during mass?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I got a Holy Cross one.
Oh,
so
great.
when I first came back from Port Huron to Holy Cross, we had to go to church. And I can't remember, Fred, was it 3 days a week? We did like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or something like that.
We'd go Wednesday and Friday.
Wednesday and Friday. Well, one of the Wednesday we were doing confession, and I mean, we didn't go to church like Fred's parents did. And so I didn't have all the skills. I was confirmed, but I didn't do my first communion, and I didn't know all of the stuff. So we go into confession, and I can't even remember who the priest is. I didn't know what to do. So he's upset about that. And then when he said you had to do, your Hail Marys and Our Fathers, I told him I didn't even know Hail Marys. And he ripped me up and down in there for like 10 minutes. Well,
it was Father Brown for sure.
It was Father Brown. And because I was new, like Joe Klettner and all those guys, they would time you to see who had the longest time in there. And so, but I didn't know that. And I was in there for such a long time. I came out, and those guys, as soon as I walked out, I mean, you could see the look on their face, like, what the hell did you do in there?
They're like, fucking legend.
Yeah. That part it was an embarrassment, but Father Brown definitely embarrassed me. I was embarrassed when I was in there.
Well, you got to know those ritual sayings. Come on.
You got to know the
Yes.
ritual sayings.
I still know them. Come on. All right, I have a bike story for you. I think it might be worse than Fred's. You guys can judge, but when we were growing up, my brother and I had like the BMX bikes, right? So to stop it, you did backwards on the pedals, right? You know, that was the brakes on your bike. So for whatever reason, I decided to take my mom's bike, which is, you know, one with the hand brakes. Okay. And we're hauling ass around the block, right? And we start going down Bell River Road because I lived on 3rd and Bell, and we're headed straight for the river, right? And at that point, I didn't have to stop because we were, you know, just driving around in circles basically. And then we started booking it down towards the river. I couldn't figure out how to stop the fucking bike, and I launched over the curb into the fucking river. Into the river, bike and all. My brother and his friends were fucking laughing so hard at me. I was like, first of all, I had to drag the bike out of the river, and they're just fucking laughing at me. I'm soaked head to toe. That was an embarrassing moment for sure. It's unbelievable. I couldn't figure out how to fucking stop it. I just could not figure it out.
Because we're all in our 50s. I got one more, and I know we're all gonna have some kind of version, I think, and it's a Shart story. So this is not before my ex-wife. I dated this girl, and it wasn't the first time I met her parents, but it was definitely like the second or third time we went to Carrabba's. And I wasn't feeling very good. And I sat at the table. And I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. And one of those, like, you know, that feeling, you hold it, where it gets like warm. And then you're like, oh, I got to go now, or something bad's going to happen. Before I got in there, I sharted, bro, in my pants. And so I got into the stall. And I had to take everything off. My underwear is just destroyed. Like
you threw it out. Threw them out, right?
I threw out the underwear, and I'm going, and they didn't have the handicap thing with the sink inside the.
Yeah.
And so now I'm standing there like Porky Pig in it. I just have a shirt on, my shoes and stuff, and not my shorts. And so I'm like, if someone walks through this door, I'm going to be fucking embarrassed. I'm trying to wash out my pants and the thing. And then after I get them washed out, I'm trying to hit the blow dryer to blow dry them off, still naked with just shoes on and a t-shirt, or not a t-shirt, but like a polo shirt. And thank God nobody walked in. But as I went out, like they were horrible, dude. I mean, the pants were horrible.
I mean, how do you cover that up? The fucking pants are wet.
I got back to the table, and I told my girlfriend, I said, I'm not feeling good. I got to go. And, you know, everybody stands up and they want to hug me. And I'm like, whoa, trying to back off. And I know people behind me are probably looking at my shorts going, he shit his pants.
Mm-hmm. That was in like 8th grade. People don't forget. That is awesome. Fred, you got any more?
2007.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, shit. That's not that long ago. Oh, boy.
Well, I think I have you, Rob.
Oh, here we go.
No way.
I knew this was going to bring something out.
Yeah, this is bad. And Kendra and Lauren and my daughter and
oh shit, this is recent then.
This is recent.
Oh, great.
Just die laugh when I tell the story. So
okay.
Taylor's at Central Michigan. It's her freshman year. And I'm laid off at the time. And she says, hey, why don't you come up and watch me play volleyball with my sorority, and you can stay the night and we'll hang out for the night. And Nancy goes, well, why don't you go do that? You haven't, this is your chance to, to hang out with her a little bit. I'm like, all right. So I get all my stuff together and I get on the expressway, and I stopped at McDonald's and got a double cheeseburger and a pop. So I ate that, and I got to, I'd say about Emily City, and I'm like, uh-oh. and I can just feel it coming on, and I'm like, I'm going 80, 85 miles per hour, and I'm trying to get to the next place that has, a gas station or a restaurant, just so I
So
can get in.
did you already pass Emily City? Because you're talking
Yeah.
like another 10 miles for the next exit.
Yeah, yes. So so I'm like, oh my God. So I get to Davidson, and right where Lucky's and Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC is.
Yeah.
And I sprint into KFC, and I go into the bathroom, and as I pull down, it already started coming out, and it's all over the place. It's on the seat. It's all over my shirt. It's on the back of on the back of my jeans, everything like that. And I'm like, all right, so I'm like, oh crap. No pun intended.
Literally.
So I'm like, oh God, I'm glad I got here. And then I go to reach for toilet paper. There's no toilet paper.
Oh my God.
So I literally had to use my hands, wash my hands, and I had to use the underwear that got destroyed, wiped myself off, and
man.
people are knocking on the door to get in. And I'm like, hold on. And it's everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. I cleaned up as best I could.
Yeah.
I took my shirt off because it clipped the back end of the shirt. Got that, it was all wet. So I started getting up near Bay City just before you start heading, and here it comes again. And as I'm walking to the bathroom, it just starts coming out, and I'm walking. I'm like tiptoeing to the bath.
My gosh.
And so I cleaned everything off as well as I could. I mean, the rest of the ride was embarrassing. I was like, I couldn't even look at the cashier lady. I'm like, yeah, okay. I sprint out, and then unfortunately, I forgot extra underwear, so I had to go into Meijer in Mount Pleasant, buy some extra clothes, and then Taylor goes, "What's taking you so long?" I said, "Yeah, before we go out to eat, I think we have to do something for her first." She goes, "What?" She goes, I go, "Well, kind of shit myself on the way up here, and and I need to wash my clothes." And she's like, "Oh my God, how embarrassed? How did you get?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore." But my God, I have never been so the different emotions that I went through.
Roller coaster.
I went through anger,
panic,
empathy, embarrassment, depression.
You went through all 12 stages.
Yes, I'm like, I had my own pandemic. I don't know. It was just so embarrassing.
I think after the second one in Myers, I would have bought the pens.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably should have, but
maybe riding in a shitty diaper.
It's like, oops, I crapped my pants. Hey, it's biodegradable. You can bury them and grow your own food.
Oh man,
it was embarrassing. It was awful.
That's gross. That is gross.
In fact, I can't even believe I just told that story.
Yeah, I feel bad because I don't have any shit stories. I wish I had one.
Well, good for you.
I feel left out.
Just wait, they're coming, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, just whatever you do, just knock on wood right now, so it just doesn't
exactly
happen. Next thing you know, you're gonna sneeze, fart, and shit at the same time.
Hey, can we officially name Ruth? She's no longer a fan. She's now our producer.
Yeah, she pretty much is.
She's our producer of this thing. Can we just call her our producer?
Well, let me just tell you, Ruth is awesome. I used to work with her. Yeah. We used to have a riot. We used to, after work, my girlfriend and worked there. She worked there and I worked there, and we'd get off at the same time. We'd always go up to Gord's and have a few beers on payday. So yeah, Ruth's a good chick, man. She's nice.
I'd like to know what we didn't answer last time.
Yeah, She'll let me know, I'm sure.
I'm
She
sure.
sent me a message, and it was a link to buy a Baby Yoda because she watched the episode and she's like, "Hey, you can buy one." I said, "I don't think so. I don't want to
Buy
I
one so
got one. I got one.
buy one so I can cut it.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you."
I'm gonna cut you.
So, all right, that was a good topic. Good
That
stories.
was.
Oh God.
All right, Fred, you had a couple that I thought were pretty interesting.
Which ones, Mikey?
How about the 5 cassettes that were in your car in high school? And this time I'm going to start with you, Rob. We put Fred on the spot the first
God,
time.
it's so long ago. You know, I don't know if I could name the actual, because I could name
No.
the bands. The bands.
The bands. You don't need it.
Yeah.
I know this pissed Mike off, but Journey was one. I always had a Journey. The ladies like Journey, man.
Probably the greatest hits.
Probably
Yeah.
greatest hits.
You probably had the
Probably
REO
greatest hits.
Speedwagon greatest hits
Nah,
with it.
no, I didn't go. I wouldn't go. No, I wouldn't go REO Speedwagon, but definitely a Bob Seger. Probably Night Moves. Well, let's see, Journey. Someone else I know was really big back then that I probably would have had.
Probably Deep Purple.
Well, that was like he's saying that because that was my first concert, so I probably did have a Deep Purple.
Was it the Perfect Strangers tour by chance? Your first?
Oh,
yeah, it was Perfect
Oh
Strangers.
man,
Yeah, exactly.
that was a great fucking album, man.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was. And then I think the one that was kind of new was I know this sounds bad. It came out like right when we were in high school, Get Your Kicks for Free, Money for Nothing.
Oh, Dire Straits.
Dire Straits.
Yeah, Brothers
so
in Arms.
Yeah, Dire Straits.
Brothers in Arms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
How about you, Mikey?
Well, of course, anybody that knows me knows that Shout at the Devil was in my car.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Anybody that rode with me that they heard it at least 16,000 times. But I have to give credit to Joe Springborn for Motley Crue, though. He's the one that brought the big ass boom box that he had, and I remember he brought Shout at the Devil. It had a cassette player on it, and we were cranking. I don't know if it was at lunchtime or after school or whatever,
Right.
but man, I couldn't. I heard that. I was like, oh shit, I gotta get all over that, and I did, of course. But
Right.
yeah, Shout at the Devil would definitely have been in my car. Stay Hungry by Twisted Sister, one of my favorites. That was always in my car. Out of the Cellar by Rat.
Oh yeah.
Classic.
Oh yeah.
I always had Tattoo You in my car. As a matter of fact,
Yep.
I later had the
Stones.
CD,
Yep.
and it was stuck in my CD player for a while, and I didn't bother to take it out. It just kept. So probably for like 6 months, all I listened to was Tattoo You in my car because it was stuck in my CD player. And I'd probably have to say probably Tooth and Nail, Dokken Tooth and Nail.
Nice.
That was one I loved. I wore the shit out. I actually, on 3 of those tapes, Out of the Cellar, Shout at the Devil, and Stay Hungry, I had to buy like multiple cassette tapes because they wore out. I played them so much.
Yeah, I hear you on that one.
So those 5 would have been in my car. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for me, it was Kiss Rock and Roll All Over. It was Dokken. It was either Dokken, Tooth and Nail, or Under Lock and Key.
Mm-hmm.
No question.
Both classics.
But yeah, 3 would be Run DMC, Raising Hell.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
4 would be the Beastie Boys,
License to Ill.
License to Ill. And 5, I would probably was Queensryche, The Warning.
Yeah.
And of course, Mike, I'm sure, we're just picking 5, but I'm sure Mike and I probably had a little box that had like 12 to 14. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I everything from Queensryche to Skid Row to Motley Crue. Matter of fact, Motley Crue, Theater of Pain was in my car for a long time when it first came out. Then just to listen to Louder Than Hell, because I'd listen to Louder Than Hell on the way to a basketball game or on the way to a baseball game just to get pumped up.
Yeah. Good song.
Before I had the license before Fred, right? Because I was 4 months older. So my dad gave me this 72 Cutlass, and I cleaned it up real nice, right?
Remember that day?
It smelled like Murphy's oil soap, the whole thing. And we cleaned it out, and they didn't have a radio in it anymore. So I had this jam box that I put in the back seat. It had 2 cassette players in it, and that was our radio.
Yeah,
right?
Nice.
I remember, man. I remember that day that you and I cleaned the hell out of that car.
the cruise that night.
Yeah, we scrubbed everything out and everything. Got it. I mean, even his dad was impressed about how the car looked, how clean it was, and he goes, "Shit, we don't have a radio." And he goes, "Oh, I got this jam box." We'll say, "Oh, I put the jam box in there, and we'll put the seat belt on there so it doesn't bounce around and move around." And then he goes, "Well, what are we going to listen to?" "Oh, I don't know. What do you got?" I'm like, well, "You grab something, I'll grab something." And then we just cruised the whole night. And it was
playing
awesome.
tunes. Yep.
Nice. No, did you have a cigarette lighter, or was it all battery powered? Did it take those fucking gigantic D batteries?
No. Yeah, it was gigantic D's. It was all batteries, so you had to buy batteries for it.
Oh yeah,
the bad old days.
Yeah. Cigarette lighter was in the ashtray.
Yeah,
it was an ashtray. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good times. Good times.
Yeah.
All right, Fred, you had another one that I thought was interesting. We're hearkening back to our younger days, it seems, but favorite teacher or teachers, and it could be high school or middle school or elementary school. I don't remember that far back, to be honest, but I know Fred does. He seems to remember everything about, I can't remember.
I'm the guy that everybody calls and asks, "Hey, remember this party we went to?" And I could give you.
I have no clue, but he does.
Yeah.
So Who wants to start this one? I'll let you guys choose.
Go ahead, Freddie.
Hey, Mike. Well, why don't you start, Mike? Because I started the first one. Yeah. What the heck?
All right, I'll start. I think most of my favorite teachers would have been from high school. Because honestly, I don't remember much about my teachers in elementary school. But my favorite teacher of all time, Fred already knows this. We went to visit her not that long ago.
No.
Mrs. Christie. She was my favorite teacher. She actually, my brother had her as a teacher. And she, my brother was a horrible student. He'll admit it in school. But she took a shine to my brother for whatever reason. And then, I got to meet her through my brother. And then eventually I had her and I was in her class. And I think I was teacher's aide for like a year and a half, like all senior year and like half of junior year, I was her teacher's aide. So she is far and away my favorite teacher. What an awesome lady she is. She's the best.
I love her to death.
I would have to say probably for me, I'm going to say like 2 or 3. Mr. Chamberlain, I thought was a great teacher. Now, he and I were like, at the time, we're like polar opposites as far as, political views. And we always used to get into arguments in the middle of his class. Like he would say something, and I would just raise my hand and we would just start going back and forth and debating. And I thought he was an awesome teacher too. And then, believe it or not, I mean, people think that we didn't really get along because I used to cut him down and he would cut me down. But Mr. Harvey, I thought he was an awesome teacher. Yeah. And we used to get into some discussions. And I remember one time he was making fun of me because I had an earring, or he wasn't making fun of me, but he was using an example of, people might not be how they look, or, don't judge a book by its cover. And he was, kind of talking about earrings and stuff like that. Like, Mr. Ward here has an earring. And I said, and I remember clear as day, I said, well, at least I don't wear those faggoty ass Argyle socks. And everybody in the class just started laughing. I felt bad because I think he was embarrassed. But later, after the class, he said, hey, Mr. Ward, can you hang back for a second? And I was like, oh shit, I thought he was gonna tear me a new one. And he just, as soon as everybody left the class, he just left the class. He just laughed out loud. He said, I cannot believe you said that. Why? Where in the hell did you come up with that? He said, I said, I'm not in trouble. He said, no, of course you're not in trouble. So I thought that was pretty cool of him to do. I was being pretty vicious with the comment, but
Right.
and I got along with them pretty well too. So I would say those three would be my favorite teachers. So
That's awesome. How about you, Rob?
East China was Mrs. Plattner. I think she was second grade or first grade, and all I know is I had a crush on her. So I know she was tall. She had dark hair, long hair. She was probably in her 20s. She must have been pretty hot. I just remember I would bring her in stuff every day and write little hearts with her name in it and stuff like that. Junior high, I went mainly up to Port Huron for 2 years. I went to Holland Woods and then Fort Gratiot. Holland Woods, my teacher there, her son played for the Cincinnati Reds. He was a Port Huron High kid. His last name was Moncrief, and she had a different last name.
Tony Moncrief.
It was Tony Moncrief's mom, and she was a great teacher. And then when I went to Fort Gratiot, Mr. Backus, who was actually Jim Backus's cousin, and they looked a lot alike. Jim Backus from
Gilligan's
Rebel
Island
and Rebel Without a Cause, the dude
Right.
from Rebel Without a Cause. High school, I was an art guy. I liked art, so Mr. Chalufo and I had a pretty good relationship, and he lived across the street from me, so I kind of hung out with him, and he was a good role model, I guess. But that's all I remember.
What? Not my mom? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I had.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I had your mom for religion, and I had her because she also, for a while, some teacher left, and I can't remember what other class she did. Like, I can't remember what it was. So I had her a period there, back-to-back periods, and it was funny because she knew so many kids at the school personally.
Right.
Me, I'm her nephew. So she would definitely have that. I'm not Kiki. I'm not Kay-Ann. I'm not Fred's mom. I'm Mrs. Windsor in this classroom. She definitely would have that conversation with us.
Nice.
Yeah. I was just kidding though, Rob. For me, elementary school, I loved Helen Wheeler at East China School, second grade. And
I didn't have her, but I remember.
I loved Mrs. Pung.
Oh yeah, I had her third.
In third grade. Really liked them. And then when I went to Washington School, I had Ken Bolivar for fourth and fifth grade. He was my first man teacher, and he really took a liking to me. And he was a teacher. He wanted to play catch. I said, well, okay, will you play catch with me? He goes, sure. He brought his glove and he threw the ball. And I said, is that as hard as you can throw? And I just rifled one at him. He's like, oh, really? Yeah. I said, yeah. I said, let me see what you got. And he threw it as hard as he could. And I said, good. Hey, that's a lot better. And from that point on, he and I really kind of glommed. And we when he comes into town, and I heard he's not doing very well health-wise, but when he comes into town, he always calls me. And that's the guy we met at the Murphy's after Grease at one day, up at karaoke at Murphy's, Rob. He always wants to get together, either play a round of golf or have a beer and catch up. High school wise, for me, Nancy Christie by far is my number one. Number two, Helen McCartan. I really liked Helen. She kind of brought some things out that I was holding, because I had a teacher mark me ineligible when I wasn't ineligible, and she told me I wasn't. She used me as an example and told me that, and it was over a vendetta because I didn't do BOAC my senior year in high school. So so I had to write something, and I wrote. It was probably one of the truest papers I ever wrote. And she pulled me out in the hallway, and she wanted to know what happened. And I, I missed my last senior basketball game to play at Marine City against St. Clair, parents' night, everything, because of this. And I blame myself too. I wasn't just blaming the teacher, because I put myself in a spot where, I was a little bit behind there. But I just explained it to her, and I just lost it. I started crying because I embarrassed my parents, and I embarrassed myself over it. But it didn't need to happen. But she was really consoled, and she really ended up having a great relationship with my sister too. And then, as far as other teachers are concerned, I really liked Mr. Pasquantonio and Mr. Harvey. I liked both of them too. But obviously for me, another guy, I really liked Mr. Carlson. I liked him.
I like Carlson. I liked him too. Yeah.
I'll never forget. We played. He was our basketball coach in 9th grade, and we all went sledding out at the hill, and he came out and he sledded with us. And every time he went down the hill, everybody jumped on him, and and everything else like that. It was, he was just one of those guys that really wanted to be one of the kids, but be a solid mentor. And I stay in touch with him. He lives in over on the west side of the state. He's married with a son that is graduating from Northwestern. Tim was very smart. His wife was very smart. So, there's a lot of teachers. And the nice thing is I invited Mrs. Wheeler and Mrs. Pung, Mr. Bolivar, and Nancy Christie to my high school graduation, not thinking that they would show up, and they all did. And they cried because they didn't know how much impact that they really had on me, because I wasn't a good student. I know it was because of, it wasn't because I wasn't smart or anything like that. It's just I was so hyper and busy. It took me a while to kind of figure things out. So, but they were very good to me, and they were very patient and supportive. So I think all three of us had some really good experiences with a lot of good teachers. And Nancy Christie, I can't tell you how much I love that woman.
She's awesome.
I didn't really have her for anything.
I wish you would. I was her little Freddie.
Yeah,
she called Little Freddie.
Of course.
When I brought Mike over to see her, oh my God, she couldn't believe it. I mean, it was like her son coming home from the military and surprising. We had a great conversation that day. We were there for at least a couple of hours.
Yeah. It was
awesome.
Of course,
I just moved away from Port Huron, and my neighbor was Gina Day, George and Gina Day. And Mrs. Day impacted a lot of kids. Like Kim Sonnenfeld always talks about how she was Mrs. Day's pet, and loved her, and vice versa. Yeah.
Great people. I miss Mr. Harvey. I feel awful the way he passed away. I don't know, what Pasquantonio is doing now, but if I had a chance to see him, I'd say, hey, I really enjoyed your class. I wish I would have been a little bit better in your class, but I really enjoyed your class. But he was a good dude. And Mr. Carlson and Mr. Bolivar, and those, they know how I feel. So
nice. Well, I think that's kind of the topics that we had kind of discussed, or that Fred had thrown out. You guys got any other topics you want to?
How about Dwayne Haskins, man? What happened with that? I mean, that's weird. They're still not talking. They're not releasing a lot of information about this.
Yeah, it's weird. Knowing that, okay, you got hit by a dump truck.
A dump truck, yeah.
Now,
crazy.
Now, mind you,
there's a bad joke in there.
I know.
I don't know how to say it.
Don't know how to say it.
Well, Rob, I mean, you already did the too soon joke. You said, I thought they were talking about his career, and not him.
Well, Mike said, how about Dwayne Haskins dying? I said, are you talking what, his career or what? I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, and it's the sad part about it is,
he's 24.
Well, not only that, but the fact that he we didn't like him because he played at Ohio State, but I guess he made a lot of impact with a lot of the community, and he did a lot of things outside of football that didn't know about, and hindsight, nobody wants to see a 24-year-old
Oh God, no.
die, especially that way. But to be out on an expressway, and we don't know if he was in his car and his car broke down and he was just trying to get across. Nobody knows. But I mean, there was a guy on 97.1 said he just moved back from Florida, and he says he's been on that pass or that highway before, and he goes, there's more deaths in that area than anywhere. He says it's one of the most dangerous highways.
It is. I know where it's at, and I can't think. And here's the thing. Let's say his car broke down. You're still asking yourself, where was he coming from at that? Unless he was in training gear going, because he was down there working out with
with the wide receivers and
the
other quarterbacks
and Trubisky, and they were all at Trubisky's house. And unless he was dressed like that, where was he coming from? That stranded.
I mean, your car breaks down. You don't have a cell phone to call like a tow truck or something. I mean, that's where
I think that something's rotten in Denmark for sure when it comes to that. I'm hoping it's not what you would think it would be.
Just not to get off his death, but all three of us have talked about this before. And I called the ticket one time and talked to Caputo about it. He didn't think it was a big deal. I gave the topic is, when they picked Fields. And I said, listen, Ohio State's never produced a quarterback ever. Ever. There's not one quarterback in the NFL was ever produced out of that university. He goes, well, what does that matter? That has no bearing. I said, it absolutely does. It's just like when you say a college team covers the spread against this team and they're traditionally over year that way. It's the same thing. There's a flaw in that program where they can't identify pro-style quarterbacks. Now, do they have quarterbacks that fit their system and need? Yeah, but still, they don't have. I mean, I don't know why any NFL team would ever pick a quarterback out of Ohio State. I have no idea.
Right. The only two quarterbacks that did anything for out of Ohio State was Art Schlichter, and we know how that worked out.
Yeah,
and then Joe Germain, and he had a cup of coffee with the Rams, but other than that.
Well, I'd say Pryor is probably the most successful.
Yeah, and then he didn't play
quarterback.
He didn't even play quarterback. He ended up playing wide receiver.
Tom Tuba, we used to joke
as a punter.
He's a punter. But
right,
exactly.
But and you look at that, and you got people like Troy Smith, who ends up being a running back, and and then you got Cardell Jones, whatever. Jones, yeah. He never made it. He never did anything. It's a thing. It's like, let's just put it this way: Ohio State does not. Even Kirk Krenzel. I mean, you could just throw names out like that. None of them ever pan out. So I don't understand why they draft him. But back to him though. He had the skills to actually be something. But it comes down to the fact where when you're in college, it's a different story because it's more of a read option type.
It's a read option.
Yeah, okay. Where in pro, you gotta read the defense, make the play call. If you have to check down or anything like that, I don't think any one of those kids were ever prepared for that. Now, Justin Fields, they're going to say he came from Ohio State, but technically he didn't come from Ohio State. He was a transfer from another school to Ohio State, but he did graduate from there. But the thing is
Well, he played
a year.
Yeah,
Did he
so-
even play? I thought he transferred. He didn't even play a year at Georgia, right? Or I mean, he was
think
on
he
the
said
team.
He played. Yeah, he.
I think he started, and then they brought in Fromm, I think, or whatever it was, and he
Okay.
beat him out, and he said, "I'm out of here."
Okay.
So
It's
Yeah.
really
Well,
odd.
I don't think that read option really lends itself to teach those kids how to play in the NFL.
There-
That's the
No.
problem.
well, yeah. I mean, you look at most college football teams right now; hardly any of them run a pro style where they're throwing the
Right.
football. I
Right.
mean,
None of them.
none. And I mean, if you're going to see any kind of quarterback that is right for the NFL, I mean, you're going to look probably, people like in the Big Ten or out in the Pac-12 where they throw the football a little bit more. But again, I mean, the way college football is compared to pro football is a completely different story. When you have a kid that's, he's got all the tools. Well, yeah, and then he gets underneath center and he can't hold a snap because he's never been under center his whole career.
Yeah. It's weird that those teams, though, they have such great athletes and that the systems work for everybody but the quarterback. If you think about it, like
Right.
Yeah.
the running backs are all
Yeah.
good. The defensive backs are great. Linebackers, linemen, both sides of the ball. The only one it doesn't pan out for is the quarterback, and he's like the leader of the team. It's so bizarre that that's how it works out. It's strange. But.
Right. But hey, like I said, our thoughts and prayers goes out to the Haskins family and all in Buckeye Nation, all the people that loved him. That's hard for anybody to see and go through.
I mean, we didn't like him because he was so
Right.
good. I mean, let's face
Right.
it. That's why
We didn't like him, but we respected him.
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't believe he was only 24. It seems like he's been in the NFL for a while, but
I know.
they said
2 or 3 years,
24-year-old. I was like, wow, I thought he
Yeah.
was older than that. Seemed like a
Yeah.
long time ago that he was in college, but it wasn't
Right.
Such a
that long ago.
debacle. Such a debacle, though. Like everybody knew when he was drafted to Washington.
Yeah.
What's Washington
Wrong-
doing?
It's a wrong team. It was a wrong team to go to because he should have went to it. He should have went to a team, sat behind somebody and learned. But no,
Yeah, but no matter where he wasn't going to make it as a pro. Just like Fields, I'll go on record now. I don't care what anybody says. Fields is not going to make it as a pro.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it's pretty.
They're all the same. I mix up their names all the time because they all are the same type of quarterback. They play the same game and then they get the NFL and it just doesn't work.
So why is that position at Ohio State such a draw for kids? Because they get 5-star kids left and right to come play quarterback at Ohio State.
Because they have a chance to go to the playoffs and win a championship. That's the only reason.
Well, what
I
he's
know, but you
saying,
got to be
though-
thinking ahead. If you want to make it to the NFL, that's not the route to go through Ohio State
Well, if
as a
you-
quarterback.
Well,
What he's
guess what? When
saying-
you got people like Tate Martell and you got Joe Burrow, who was there as well,
Yeah.
they realize and they transfer out. Tate Martell isn't going to make it anywhere anyway.
Right.
But Joe Burrow made the right move and went down to LSU and played in a system where he flourished. So
Yeah, but I think what Mike is saying is more specific SEC teams and Alabama, right? Everybody's trying to copy Alabama,
sure,
right? That's the premise, right? That's the tent pole. That's the shining city on a hill that everybody's trying to be.
all right.
And if you listen to Nick Saban talk, there's only one thing he does to recruit. He talks about how many players he has in the NFL right now. Because that's a 4 and a 5. That's all they're thinking about. They're not thinking about education. I don't care what you people in the North think. A 18-year-old kid doesn't care about weather. He only cares about going to school he's featured to get to the NFL. That's all Nick Saban talks about. So how does Ohio State dupe these kids into believing, come to Ohio State as a quarterback, you're going to make it in the NFL? There's no proof of that anywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what's shocking. It's mind-boggling to me.
I think the only reason why Joe Burrow went there is because he was from Athens,
He was
Ohio.
from-
yeah,
right.
and that was his dream school to go to, and he thought he could be the man, and of course they brought in Justin Fields, and he booked and it made the right decision.
Didn't he go? Wasn't he a grad transfer wasn't he done with school when he went to LSU or no?
No, he played 2 years there.
Oh, okay. I thought he had already graduated, but
Hell
okay.
of a college season.
Oh
his
yeah,
last year.
Yeah.
one of the best all time.
Yeah, yeah.
So no doubt. Fred, you got any other topics for tonight, or
I think I'm completely dried out there, Mikey.
all right, Rob, you got anything else?
No, man, I really think we got to put Ruth on the books, man. I think she has to be
Yeah.
our producer.
Well, she's going to be feeding us
She
the
can only make this
topics.
better. She can
Yeah.
only make it better, right?
Yeah.
That was a good topic for sure.
Yeah,
So,
we're gonna start calling this the Ruth channel.
yeah, there you go.
The Ruth
Nice.
Network, the
Yeah,
idiots
yeah,
on the
yeah,
Ruth
yeah,
Network.
yeah. Screw Oprah. We're gonna go Ruth.
Hey, Fred, how close are we of getting Lisa Wayburn on?
She said she's ready to go. And Jeff Hall, my buddy that you guys met at, he's ready to go if we want to do a sports night.
Yeah, we got to bring someone else on.
We are going to bring somebody else on because I'm just going to tell you, I have Ron Glodich, the former football coach from Marine City, who is committed to be on the show to promote his book that he has coming out about Marine City and Marine City football. So
good God, you've told him there's only 3 listeners, right?
He obviously has not watched this shit show. Yes. He's agreeing to come on to this shit show.
Well, hey, we can take a shower and clean up and actually look.
That's
look
true.
Listen,
we can be professional.
I got a lot of questions for that guy. I really do. Because that is, like you said, that's a well-oiled machine, Fred. That's the Alabama football of the thumb.
Yep.
Listen, I don't even want to talk football. I want to talk about culture. That's what I want to talk about with him. Is I don't care about
he'll be all for that for sure. Because I'll tell you right now, when Ron came into town in '87, and I got to meet him, and we played some semi-pro baseball together. What a fantastic guy. He's got a great family. He absolutely loves my dad. He talks nothing but the best about my dad. And I can't thank him enough either, because when Dave Scheel, Mr. Scheel left to doing the announcing at the high school, Dave went to Ron and said, "Hey, I got a replacement idea for you," and told him it was me, and he goes, "Hell yeah, bring him, let's go." Perfect person, no question, and I can't thank him enough for saying it's a go, because I absolutely love it.
You should take us out in the Mariner voice.
Yeah.
Take you out. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show. And from Mariner Nation, it's another Mariner first down.
There it is.
There it is.
There he is.
There.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, Zach Tetler was the guy I told you about that got the letter of content, to go to Lawrence Tech to play football. I told you about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Charles Tigert Tiger, excuse me, not Zach Tetler. Zach Tetler is a senior this year. He's going to have a hell of a year. I'm saying first team all state for sure for him. I'm going on the limb saying that. But Charles Tigert, hey, congratulations, hard work paid off, my boy. Good job, and good luck playing down in Southfield with Lawrence Tech.
Listen, Tigert was a very good player.
Very good. Yes.
We got football this weekend, boys. The Michigan Panthers are suiting up.
That's right. I forgot.
It's
on. I gotta watch that.
Jeff Fisher and Shea Patterson.
It's on. And I saw a map, like they're doing some kind of polls or whatever across the nation, and like most of the nation is Michigan Panthers, from like California all the way through the Midwest to Michigan. They're like the most popular team already. Let's hope for another repeat of a championship the first year. I'm psyched. Baby. I'm psyched. Football's back.
Yeah. Go Panthers.
You know it. All right, guys.
All right. Hey, great seeing you guys. Hey, guys, give us more comments. Ruth, keeping those coming. Hey, anybody going to challenge Ruth? Come on, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd love to have those topics. I got another topic that we'll talk about next week. The 3 top places that you partied at high school.
Oh boy.
We
all know number 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll talk
The
about
bridge,
that.
baby, the
Yeah.
bridge.
We will
We all
talk
know
about
number
that
one.
the next show. Give us some likes, give us some comments, and keep us going. We really enjoy this and hope you guys are entertained.
All right. Have a good week, everyone.
You too.
Over and out.
Peace.